All right, it's time for Brother James Brown to say what he's going to say.
Is it running now? Yes. Hi, everybody. This is the Godfather Soul James Brown. I tell you, this is on. My man is on. Check him out. This is the Godfather Soul James Brown saying stay with it and hit it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Mr. Brown, thank you for introducing the show. Now let me see where Alan is at. Oh, let's see. I thought Alan would be there, but he's not. So you know what? We're gonna start off the show with a recording. Let's see. Let me see what. Okay, we're gonna play this video.
Okay, the same administration that tells you that Florida is terrible because it's wide open and COVID's going to spread and we're all going to die and keep masking up. They're not even using the coronavirus pandemic to reject people at the border that we have not tested for COVID. That's how ridiculous and incoherent this administration's policy is.
This Biden administration is setting an unprecedented tone here and not allowing ride-alongs, not allowing press access. But I can tell you exactly why they're denying it, because what we are hearing from the podium is very different from the pictures on the ground. And they know cameras and media and press access would expose that.
The current administration's policies are only going to make other countries richer while Americans suffer. Still, the Biden administration's only explanation for the crisis at the border is it's all Trump's fault. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and other Biden White House officials continue to blame the previous administration.
So Trump had a policy. If you show up on the border, we force you to remain in Mexico while we adjudicate your case. You can apply for asylum in Mexico. You can't cross the border and just disappear into the interior. That was Title 42. But DHS now says that if you arrive as a family, they're not going to do that. In fact, the data shows an average of just 13% of nearly 13,000 family members attempting to cross the U.S.-Mexico border were returned to Mexico between March 14th and March 21st using the public health order, which essentially says the U.S. can close the border to non-essential travel because of the COVID virus. It's a sign of how the administration is struggling to keep up with the migration surge and has recently been hamstrung by Mexico's inability to take in more families the U.S. would otherwise expel.
The American people are not going to stand for these kind of lies, are they?
No, they aren't going to stand for these kinds of lies. And I have to tell you that that is probably why the media is not allowed to actually be down there and showing the pictures that are a representation of truly what is happening down there. I mean, when we see that there are that the containers that can hold, that there's 400 people being crammed into containers, children, I might add, that can only hold 260. That is a crisis, and nobody in America wants to see anything like that happen to children. I mean, we have our law enforcement at the border coming out and telling the American people what is happening, and yet the Biden-Harris administration is wiping it under the rug, pretending that it's not even happening.
This is exclusive video of the first bus of migrants arriving there yesterday, and it comes as a source tells Fox News a private prison outside Phoenix has been releasing undocumented migrants into the community because ICE does not have the resources to take them into custody. Meantime, the Biden administration supplying this video from inside a temporary processing center in Donna, Texas, while still denying media access to those sites. Journalists pressing White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki on the lack of transparency. Watch.
We're working on independent press coverage. We believe that that should happen and that should be the case. And I don't pull the levers here. I wish I was that all powerful. I am not, but I can.
Well, I can't handle that later. Yeah, but let me let's see. Let me see. Let's see. And some of the people saying that they can't get in. Okay, so we're going to invite. Okay. Okay. No. Okay, let me copy this invite link. Okay, let me send this invite button to. Okay. You are invited. Okay, let's send this off. Okay, let me let Alan know that he's invited. Text Alan Colvin. I just sent you a new invite button. Send. Okay, so I sent one to Peter and I sent one to Alan as well. All right, so we'll wait for Alan to come on in. Okay, so I have a feeling that that this whole distraction is a distraction for to get our minds off of what's happening down at the border. And so I wasn't planning on playing the border thing, but I decided, well, let's play this. It's only there you are. There you are, Alan. Okay. Hey, sorry about that, Alan. Sorry about that, Alan. I thought I set it on my other computer, and my laptop is very unpredictable.
Well, that's okay, Johnny.
Oh man! So
how's your evening going, sir?
Pretty good. I mean, it's going pretty good, and it'd be even better maybe 24 hours from now. We'll see what happens.
What happens in 24 hours?
Well, they said they're gonna drop some gold, so we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's already spent though. My wife, she let me know. So anyway, and yesterday Peter was omnis watching, and he was saying, "Johnny, you're filming your stomach." I said, "Well, okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a blind underground filming, so sometimes you might get my left ear, my right ear, or my stomach." So
that's right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining us here on InnervisionFM.com, you can find us on Twitch, YouTube, Rumble, and a couple of other of the alternate
D Live, D Live.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
And we talk about all kinds of crazy fun stuff, man. And we film stomachs, we film heads, we film ears.
Yeah.
We have a good time.
Yeah. And I just shared that video that I sent to you. I shared a little bit of it. I cut it off when Howard Saki, or what, I forgot whatever her name is, the press secretary, is like, I get tired of her. Yeah, we're gonna come back around to that. Like it sounds like is she working for the White House, or is she just hanging out there? Because it seems like she doesn't know very much about what's happening, and maybe because Joe doesn't know what's happening, that's just conducive to the atmosphere.
Well, I have to tell you, if you've got a leader and the leader doesn't appear to be at the helm, it does make an interesting administration. I will say that.
Yep, definitely. So I played a little bit of that. Kaylin McEnany, she said some things, and Ben Shapiro, and so they were spot on what they were saying, and so I just let that play for a while, and I kept saying, like, is this what I want to say, is this a distraction? You know, it seemed like it seemed to be a distraction from, and it seemed like it was like two of these shootings, one bigger than the next one, and I keep hearing this. The FBI had an eye on them. Well, how close of an eye could the FBI have on these people if they go ahead and commit the crime? You ever heard that?
Well, they've got a perfect eye on these folks. The FBI being one of the premier law enforcement agencies in the world. And, so consequently, rank and file, your basic regular FBI person, boy, they're to be commended. 98% of those folks are just on the beat, doing their work and really providing a great service. Leadership of the FBI sometimes perhaps, might stumble a little bit in their execution of their duties, perhaps, but the FBI is one of the premier agencies in the world to provide policing and to provide investigations work. The unfortunate thing is a lot of folks really wonder where that investigations work is nowadays.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seemed like they could do a better job if you have your eye on the ball. I mean, it just seemed like you could do a better job. But
well, here's a perfect way to get rid of 2A. That's the Second Amendment. That's to go ahead and before you are elected into the office of presidency, say something to the effect of, "No, we're not out to get your guns. We're not out to take away your Second Amendment. That's part of the Constitution." And then the second that you start running for office and things, start pushing a couple of false flags. Jump on that January 6th thing. Push that whole narrative of what happened at the Capitol, so that one can get in there and start pushing HR 1, HR 5. And then, have a couple of mass shootings. Hey, what the heck? It's just people, shoot up Boulder, tear things up and then go ahead and blame it on whomever and say, well, the FBI had a wonderful eye on it. What were you doing? Just watching it? Were you just watching it happen so you could, steal our Second Amendment? Law-abiding citizens really care about their right to be able to protect themselves with a weapon, for their home.
Yeah.
And criminals don't care about that crap.
Yeah.
Criminals do not care. They will get their guns and they will do their thing, whether we got a Second Amendment or not. So the bottom line here, go ahead.
I saw this wonderful video. It's on Wayne Dupree show today. And they showed this stuff, and I don't know if the lady she was actually lived in back in Germany and she said what they did was they said, well, we're having a lot of crime, so we need you guys to register your guns so we can know what guns did it. And then they came back out and said, well, we didn't find out who did it. So what we need to do, we need to get all the guns so we can make sure that, and then it became Hitler and the army had the guns and the people didn't have the gun.
Right. You had the stormtroopers, you had the SS soldiers, and you had the military that had the weapons and nothing for the civilian population. Now, me, I'm blind, kind of like you are. So a gun's not going to matter me anything. It's just a stick that goes bang really loud to me. I mean, it's just a big, loud, banging stick. So, they want to take away 2A. Let them take away 2A. Who cares, right? Who really cares? I mean, why? Why do we need to protect ourselves? By golly, we got a wonderful federal government that will protect us. We got a wonderful FBI that watches over us. And we've got a situation where we've got a stimulus package that's out there these days, and everybody's getting their stimulus package. But guess what? The blind are left out. the Social Security recipient are left out. And they'll get to us when they get to us, when they feel like it.
All right.
On Friday, there are Democratic congressmen and women and statesmen and all kinds of folks, because this is a democratically run society. They're calling for the IRS and the Social Security Administration to get their acts together and kind of provide a timeline by which, we, the disabled population, might know when we're getting our $1,400 stimulus.
And they keep changing. They keep changing the rules. I mean, I watched this guy named Max, and they said, "Well, new rules, and they have to approve this rules." I'm thinking, like, you guys had a year to figure this stuff out. This is not the first rodeo. I mean, it's like, come on, you guys. It's been a year.
Is the third stimulus. I mean, and I haven't even gotten my second. Now, I'm not one to cry or whine about too much, but boy, if something doesn't break, wow, things aren't going to be pretty. And I'm just one person.
Yeah, and I've talked to other people that they didn't get it. They didn't get the first one. And well, I don't know if they got it by now, but the last time I talked to them was in December 7th. And they still hadn't got it. And I'm thinking, like, what is going on?
Yeah, my old roommate, the one that went to Cali, she, as of 2 weeks ago, hadn't even received her first one yet. So,
interesting.
This is all just, you know what this is, pal? This is just a distraction from everything, so that the elite can continue to grab power, so that the downtrodden, that's us, that's the common person, the common non-gender specific individual of your choice. So let's include everybody. We don't want to exclude anybody.
Yeah.
So let's just let's say it that way.
And I heard oh man, it flew out of my mind. Oh shoot. Oh, it flew out of my mind. I was about to say what I heard. Oh well, we'll come back. We'll come back. Distraction.
So what was your favorite about Jen Psaki and what she had to say about old Joe and what about Kayleigh McEnany and that?
They keep lying and saying it's Trump's fault that all these people are pouring in. And then I heard that there's fences just laying on the ground that they could have just put up and finished. And it's almost like when you start something, just because another administration comes in, you're not going to finish a job. And that's the very frustrating thing. It's like, you really got to rush to do as much as you can in that 4 years, because you're not guaranteed to have the next 4 years. And that's because of the Rhino Republicans and maybe a few other ones in there as well. And so there's this guy was flying over a helicopter, and he was seeing like, oh, there's a fence down there, people are coming through here. And so they're moving them. I think this is all a distraction. Gun law. And then somehow it's about 75 million or more, or 80 million of us who are saying, you're not going to take our guns. Now, the other 64% or whatever that percentage is, hey, maybe they'll say, hey, here it is and all that kind of stuff. But, go ahead and do that, because our guns is not to protect, not so much to protect us from each other, but to protect ourselves from the government.
That's absolutely right, Johnny. That's absolutely right. And that's a common misconception. Yeah, sure, guns are out there for hunting, Yeah, sure, they're there to protect their home from unwanted intruders such as the burglar. But unfortunately, the Second Amendment was enacted so that we had a fail-safe, a safeguard against a tyrannical federal government.
Yeah, and because the Democrats have never even read the Constitution, they're only interested in getting rid of what they don't even know about, and then they want to dumb down the schools, because now the schools are so dumbed down, they don't even know what the Constitution is. Oh man, And so is this a bunch of fools leading a bunch of fools? And it's like, oh, it's definitely crazy. Let's okay. Oh, it is what it is. Let's let me get hold on. And I'm thinking like this is a mental health problem. People that this guy probably started shooting and wow, this is good, like a game on the Xbox, and he just kept going, and I don't know. They said like a bad cop is one that says, I'm glad I took that person down. That's supposed to be a bad cop, and the cop that says, I really don't want to kill anybody, but I think I would have took the guy down. After I think, yeah, I would have felt bad about it, but I would have felt even better if he would have got to number 2 or number 3 person.
Right.
So it's like oh well. Anyway, middle this now topic 2. I saw this artist who just put together this music, and I listened to it, and it's a singer-songwriter. Harvey has teamed up with his music label mate, Andy Mineo. Now that name sounds familiar. Andy Mineo. I don't know if it sounds familiar to you, but it sounds
not so much.
But it's a lot of Christian artists, and that's what I'm kind of getting in the place where we're gonna do some concerts here as soon as things open up, and we used to have an organization that used to bring in a lot of Christian contemporary concerts, and I used to love going to those things. And I said, well, hey, why not? I know I'm older, but train, have some young people there and train them, and then so when I get tired and old, they can take over.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, the song is we are against we wait a second. Let's see. We Against the World. I guess that just came out. So check out the video. It's supposed to come out on April 9th, but I think there's still like a music video out there.
Nice.
So yeah, so set to release April 9th. So I listened to it and I liked it. And it was written by about 3 or 4 people. So it's a music machine. And so the song is really about like how people cannot live a fulfilled life without God in their life. So, and I really like that concept, because some people think they're just an island unto themselves and they don't need anybody. But he said, hey, you do need. That's why God put us here, so we can help one another, not just it's just me and that's it, or it's just me and my family and that's it. You help your family, but you also have time to help out your fellow man and fellow woman as well. So that's what the song is about. So that's why I want to promote it on the show tonight. Now, the last one I wanted to do was the last topic was I've been watching this movie. Did I put it in there?
I don't think so.
Oh, I see. I didn't put it in there. Okay. I've been watching the Hugh Hefner story. It's called Playboy.
Oh, wow.
And at first, I said, this is not gonna be interesting. But it was like I was around during that era, and he started in the 1956. He got several. He was working for a magazine, and they were kind of edgy, and then they went conservative on him. So he went out. And the only thing I don't get, I like that he hired people and paid them, living wages and stuff like that. I don't like his views on abortion and some of these other things. I guess he grew up in a very cold family. Mother and father were not too affectionate to each other and whatever. And he just thought that was kind of strange. But, maybe they were a power team and that's not necessarily a love team. And so, but what, and a spoiler alert, if you guys haven't watched it, okay, I would have handled this one different. he had a personal assistant that really structured his life. And she was living in the Playboy's mansion. Well, she made a mistake. She started dating a guy that got into, who was a drug, what is that called? Not a drug, a drug dealer, more or less. And so the government wanted to get to, and I guess Nixon at the time, it started the drug war. So this guy, this politician type DA, whatever, he wanted to get to Hugh Hefner. So he wanted to have her lie to get to him. And so Hugh Hefner's lawyer says, well, you got to get Bobby out of your house. I'm thinking like, what? This lady caused such structure. You know she's innocent. What are you doing? But he followed the lawyer's advice, put her out. And she had money and stuff like that. And then they convicted her, gave her boyfriend, probably ex-boyfriend now, I think 3 to 6 years, and gave her 15 years.
Wow.
Right? But, she wasn't, she talked tough and all that kind of stuff, but for Hugh Hefner to put her out based on advice of people that didn't know that relationship, she committed suicide. And I said that, to me, I say, I got people that are loyal to me, and it's like, I could not see myself doing something that to someone who pretty much put structure in my life and helped me go forward. And then one more time, he was listening to somebody else who was jealous over somebody else. He was doing 86% of his income was coming from the London casinos and all that, and the club in London. And they tried to attack the license, saying they were doing something wrong. But the guy, he was his 30-year-long friend. And once again, somebody came in and said, you have to get rid of him, thinking that they'll get their license back if they got rid of him. 30-year friend. He did it, and they still took his license.
Wow.
That's where I stopped. I'm thinking like, Hugh, 30 years, and then you're going to take the advice of somebody who's just been there like 2 years?
Wow. Well, and that's something that happens all the time where, you enjoy a certain amount of power, you enjoy a certain amount of prestige, and of course you want to keep that. And so therefore I wouldn't say you personally, but the potential is there for one to really try to take the easy way out.
Yeah.
Sell your friend of 30 years down the river.
Yeah. Or get jealous because the one guy who was managing the editing part, the book, the magazine, he was jealous over the other guy that handled the club part over in England, and they didn't get along. And I'm thinking like, come on, Hugh. Come on, 30 years friendship.
That's right.
He had plenty of chances in that 30 years to do bad things, and he didn't.
Right.
And it's like, oh man, I don't understand what he was thinking, but bad advice. And bad advice can sink chips.
Well, it's all about loyalty, I think, Johnny. If one builds a relationship that spans the course of 30 years, why, one needs to stay loyal to that relationship. In my mind, I don't know. Well, that's interesting, though.
I have a friend, and when we get married or something like that, we don't stick around, we don't hang out with each other as much, but it's kind of funny that our daughters don't understand, his daughter and my daughter, they don't understand. They think that, you guys are not friends anymore. How come you guys hang out? Because, we grew into, these other relationships with wives and girlfriends, whatever. And so we can pick up the conversation and pick up the friendship whenever, and we still have that connection, whether the wife or girlfriend doesn't like the other person or whatever. we're still a team. I made a promise like when we were like in our 20s that we would never split our friendship over a woman.
Right.
You know, and it's like, oh, it's just like, oh, I gotta go to tell you this. These two friends made a deal that if one would win the lotto, that they would split the money. Well, one of the guys, he got married and then he hit the lotto. But his wife says, wait a minute, you made that deal before us and you should have told me.
No, geez.
So I'm not sure if you got to give the guy any of the lotto money, but the wife was definitely stepping in there and saying, "Hey, that was the deal made before you met me, and you should have told me."
That's
So
pretty good.
I don't know, man. It's like, what can you say? What can you say? But anyway, anyway, that's pretty much all I got tonight. I'm trying to set up some interviews. I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow night, but if not, you know, I'll come up with some topics. I want to talk about like one of the things I want to talk about tonight is like if you lost $1 million, okay, and you sort of knew where you lost it. How hard would you go? Would you go to find that money that you lost? Right?
Well, Johnny, I got a funny story for you, really quick.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Back in 2009, a friend of mine, he happens to be a friend of mine of about 30 years. But anyway, a friend of mine and I, we each invested $100 into Bitcoin. This is in 2009. There was no crypto market at this point.
Right.
And fast forward to now, where that same $100 would have given us each $160 million plus dollars.
Oh man!
And that was in last year's Bitcoin terms when Bitcoin was only at 1,500, say last July. It's now well over 50,000. So, gosh, let's see, 160 million times. So let's just say conservatively, our $100 investments each were worth $475 million in today's terms. I lost my computer tower. It's I know right where it is. It's at my ex-wife's sister-in-law's. I don't even know. In the basement in there. I'll never see that tower again. But you know, if I were able to get access to that tower, I'd have that $100 Bitcoin investment.
Wow.
So in a sense, I guess I've lost well over $1 million.
Oh man. Well, and I'll tell you when tomorrow. I'll tell you the story about when you clear out your pockets. Make sure you know what you're throwing away. But we'll get into that tomorrow. So tonight the show 8:00 on Channel 56, Innervision TV, and don't forget the 6 Shades of Blindness book is out there on Amazon. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, everybody, have a great.